So I finally found out how to get my browser into the setup. So what happened was I had to overlap it, and if you're using OBS, you have one window capture that's like your main source, and so I had to overlap it with another one. But anyways, we here for y'all to know how to use OBS. Obviously, you know what I'm talking about, but I finally got it together. So I'm finna make a beat on the spot. Let's get it. for this part, y'all can't see it, but I'm in Splice right now, so I'm just looking at some sounds and I'm going through. Right now, I'm looking at the keys and I'm just going in and seeing like what actually can match with what I'm already creating. So I got to figure out. Let me see. Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can get this added in, so y'all can see exactly what I'm doing. I might have to add in another screen. Let's see. Add in another window capture. Let's do window capture 3. And then that was gonna be Splice desktop. Alright, so we finna put that. Let's just go on. Let's see if this works. Like this. Hey, this is hard. Hold on. All right, here we go. I see you hear that. So how I'm thinking in my mind is like, so we're gonna see if it works. So this is how I like think about sounds, and obviously you gotta go in. So this is where you're actually cutting things out and then making it sound in your type of way. So y'all might not even be able to hear or see what I'm saying. And so watch this, and it might not work. So this is why it's trial and error. You see, it can flow, but I'm really not feeling it. It didn't really come out the way that I wanted to, but we're gonna try another one. It was cool, but it ain't really hit how I wanted to. But that's the point about like finding sounds and making it work. So let's try something else. so I'm having a little tougher time with this one. And sometimes it takes multiple clicks to find like what sounds good, and then from there you end up adding something else. Oftentimes you may say, hey, you know what, I want to trash this beat and come back to the next one. So sometimes you might find different inspiration, or you might hear something the next time that you didn't hear the first time. So we're gonna keep on cooking. So that's a hell of a start right there. So y'all see at the end, I finally found that. So that's just how like you just got to keep going and keep finding it. And I'm sure that whenever I save this and then come back to it, I'll find something else that's even more cold. And then I may even think about a whole nother process here where I may go and save this or something and then do a whole different version that doesn't even sound nothing like this. So this is why I like creating. What we gonna call this one? Let me see. Let me see what it sounds like, and I'm gonna give it a name based on that. Trying to think. Sometimes I'll even look around my room and find certain words that inspire something. It's taking me a minute because I like to just get like really. Usually, whenever I'm creating these sound with the titles, even the beats, like it's something in which I've gone through, something which I'm thinking about. Like it's all over the place. Like you just never know where it may come from. Ooh, this I don't know why it's taking me so long for this one. Mm. All right, so I had to title that one "My Wisdom Surprises the Inexperience" because the type of person that I am, and because like my emotional intelligence can be high, especially from my age and the self awareness that I have as a man. Oftentimes, I can be in situations where people older than me, they may not see the world quickly, and they may not be able to understand a perspective or be able to navigate in certain arenas the way that I can. Oftentimes, people can be used to one perspective where when you make yourself available or flexible to be a part of different types of ecosystems, the way in which you move is different. So you are more receptive, you're more open to be able to try new things or to hear perspectives from a different lens. And so oftentimes certain people can get older and all they're doing is adding years upon their age, but that doesn't mean that they're actually being aware and taking the things around them, whether that's accountability, whether that's growth, whatever it is, and they're not utilizing that to become a multi-dimensional individual. Oftentimes, people can just be focused on that one lane, and there's a lot of people that can be like that. So, oftentimes, people when they get older, when they hear perspectives that are different, or when somebody may share something that's from a different spectrum, not many people are receptive to wanting to hear that, nor are they willing to take the accountability or willing to try that. So oftentimes I may have like I won't say necessarily a wild perspective, but I may think outside the norm and I may see perspectives from multiple different angles and I may utilize that to form an opinion or to share factual information that I have or experiences that I went through. So I don't even know if that makes sense. So oftentimes like if you can have an experience and you can have an experience in different ways and you can gain perspectives in multiple ways from those different types of experiences. So you may be dating, right? And you may have dated different types of people and there can be facts in how that situation went with those different types of folks, but you have to be open and receptive to understanding that it happened because of how you either showed up, because of how you took accountability, whatever. But if you're just like, hey, based on this, there's just only one way approach in which I'm going to go into dating, and it has to be either this way or I don't have any room in me to want to take something further. I don't have any more energy for me to look at it from this other perspective. A lot of times you're only going to be looking at it from that lens. So if it doesn't working that way, you're not going to be able to see anything outside of that. Versus if you're like, hey, based on this date and this person, this worked. I'm gonna take a little bit of this, spice it up, and then add it into this next situation because the vibe's a bit different. Hey, you know what? Like, yeah, I was looking for this, but it doesn't mean that I still can't be looking for that, or that that's. It doesn't mean that that's not the end result that I want. But you know what? I'm kind of enjoying this, so let me see if I can maybe see a different perspective I hadn't seen before. Still focus on where I'm trying to get to, but spice a little bit up with this over here. You know what? Like, I didn't even know people could do this over here. I'm getting a whole different type of experience than I had before. I may be more open to allowing this to happen versus over here when there was no accountability involved. Does that make sense? No, cool. Well, at the end of the day, it makes sense to me. I know there's somebody out there, and it's funny. I'm over here talking like I got an audience around me, but this is just how I be thinking. So You're like, oh, it's probably not that deep. It's not that deep to make it for a beat or whatever. But when you create in a way that's super dope to you, and it makes you feel like energized or it makes you feel excited, you go through processes like this. And this is like the life of being a creative, a multifaceted. And so oftentimes you've got to figure out how can what I'm doing be reflective of who I am as an individual. How can I share that? Like even me creating a beat, like I always say I'm not a professional producer, so a professional producer may be like, hey, this is like super basic. Like we gotta add like hella more steps to it. And for me, I'm like, this is a hell of a dope start. Like the sound is good. And then when I go on Instagram or whatever, I'll show like a little snippet and I'll work slowly on getting it to like a full sound. But for my focus and what I need and what I'm looking for, I'm not looking for it to be this over the top type of thing because it captures my audience just enough and it has a dope, there's different pieces I can add into the beat that makes it very, very high quality, sometimes to the point where somebody might like this way more than they like a professional made beat. Why? Because it's simple. It's simple, it's smooth, and then you can add different trinkets or you can add or you can adjust different small pieces within the beat that you cut out certain you can cut out certain noise and just make it feel eloquent. Like somebody may listen to this and they're like, okay, hey, DeMarcus, maybe turn down this piece, maybe turn down that. So after I hear that enough, then I can learn how to be able to add other layers to it. I may learn how to go in and add different plugins. Like y'all seen on here, I clicked and I was like, okay, let me adjust the snare, let me adjust the hi hat, add a little sizzle to it. I got that from Lex Luger watching the YouTube video. So after doing this enough, then I'll be like, okay, it's time to add in something else. But somebody that may be professional with it, where this is their day-to-day grind, they may be focused on having to add a lot of things quickly. But this is the point about being a multifaceted. When you have different lanes, things that you enjoy, it's not so much about trying to, in my opinion, be an expert in everything because there's no way you're going to do that. But these little pieces can help you to expand your expertise in other areas. Why? Because it can add flavor onto your other multifacets. You can have a podcast, and if you have dope graphics and then you making your own beats, then you're going to capture the audience whenever you post a story. Why? Because you want to have something soothing based on your audience. They're going to be real into what you're talking about. Then you might have some people where they're like, you know what? These beats of this person, where are you getting this sound from? All you make those for real? Hey, I need a 10, 15-second thing for my podcast or whatever. So that's how you got to think as a multifaceted creative. And this is how I be moving. So I'll probably end up cutting this part out and then letting the people hear this side from like the beat part. And then I may even do like I don't know, cut it in half and then add something to the podcast or something like that. But this is how I like to create. So I'm going to let you hear this one more time. Let's see where we at. Hold on. What do you want? I like that it's smooth. So yeah, that was cool. Yes, sir.